Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Good
Yeah.
morning to everyone. We need to bring learning to people instead of people to learning. In the presence of our God Almighty, let us begin the session on behalf of Department of English, New Prince, Sri Bhavani Arts and Science College, Chennai. Proudly presents webinar on challenging in teaching English to generation visit students in India. It is our pleasure to welcome everyone to our ideal webinar in this morning. We had like to extend a special welcome to our guest of honor, Dr. M. Nagalakshmi, Associate Professor, Department of English, Vistas, Chennai, who will be speaking for today's session. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Aishwarya.
Thank you. I welcome our respected chairman, Thiru K. Loganandan sir, our gallant vice chairman, Mr. L. Navin Prasad sir, our passionate director, admin, Dr. M. Prabhakaran sir, our humble director, academic Dr. V. Karnanidhi sir, our determined principal, Dr. V. Umadevi ma'am, our dutiful vice principal, Mrs. A. Maria Payas ma'am, and our dynamic participants. I'm delighted to welcome all to our webinar, and we are so excited to have you all here to participate in our webinar. Last but not least, our vibrant participants, who are the lifeblood of today's session. I welcome you all with my pleasant greeting and thank you all for joining the session. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Now I welcome Director of our college, Dr. Prabhakaran sir, to give keynote about today's session. Sir?
Okay, ma. Thank you very much. Good morning, dear participants. A very good welcome address is made by one of the members of our English department. Before I proceed further, I thank our chairman, Mr. Loganathan, and the vice chairman, Mr. Navin Prasad, for having given us an opportunity to conduct this webinar. Our English department is second to none in the race of conducting many webinars. Considering the need of the time, a very relevant topic is chosen by the head, Mrs. Vinolia Lovely Paul, and a special thanks goes to her. The challenges facing the present students are numerous. I mean, students who are learning English. Cultural prejudices, diversities, efficacy of task-based learning, communication learning, psychological notions, and extremities of domain are a few. The background of the learners is not only important, but also their parents, and everywhere that is the case. If the foundation is not strong, definitely buildings cannot be built. The classroom atmosphere, tackling efficiency of teachers, power of transferring grammatical structures, and finally, the response from the learners are the deciding factors. How to overcome these difficulties while learning English? Fortunately, today we have with us the guardian angel, Dr. M. Nagalakshmi, Associate Professor, English Department, Vistas, Palavar. For quite some years, she had served in Oman. It was God's will, I think, because God expects that India has to be benefited, and the children of India should be the beneficiaries. That's why God has brought her back to India, and she returned to India to equip the present generation with English. She has a PhD and an MBA degree, and she is also a wizard in computer applications also. She published many articles in reputed journals and the majority of them found in Scopus. So that itself is an indication how best her articles are. And such a great scholar is made a resource person today. And I'm sure that she will dispel all our doubts and we will feel enlightened after her lecture. And before I conclude, I thank the management, the head of the department, other members of our college for having given me an opportunity to address you for a few minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the kind and cherishing words for today's webinar, sir. Now for our speaker, Mrs. Nahalakshmi, come from Vistas, Chennai. She will speak this morning on challenges in teaching English to Generation Z student in India. Ma'am, please take part with us with your intelligence.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. And thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful welcome address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Good morning, one and all. And it's a pleasure meeting you all on a virtual platform. Myself, Dr. M. Naglakshmi. The topic of today is challenges in teaching English to Gen Z students in India. Such an interesting and essential topic to be addressed. Yes? Yes. Let us analyze the title first. What's primarily important to understand who are Gen Z students. Knowing that, we can go further, right? Who are Gen Z? Generation Z refers to young people who were born between 1996 and 2007. There are different opinions regarding the years born after 1996 or 2000. Anyways, these young generation are in their university education now. This generation stands out from the previous generation, millennials and Generation X, for a ton of reasons. Can we see? Who are they?
What happened, Ma? Hello?
Voice is not coming.
Yes, her voice is not audible. Why?
Yeah, the screen is changing, but voice is not coming. Dr. Naglakshmi, your voice is not
Sir,
coming.
Yes,
Now it's fine.
proceed.
it's video, sir.
Please. But from the video also there is no voice.
Only music, sir.
Music also is not coming. Nothing is coming. Only it's the screen slide is changing.
There is background music there.
No, bilkul nahi. I mean, nothing is there. Absolutely silent movie. And that too just moved very fast. People cannot really relate. The screens are changing so fast and without any background voiceover. Maybe you can rerun the video and you can give some gist.
Yes, sir. Actually, the video is a little bit faster.
Okay.
After the video, I can.
There is a method to, if it is in the YouTube,
Lower,
you can go and reduce the speed also.
I already.
The setting.
Yes, sir. I already in the presentation slide. I already downloaded the video, and in a such a way,
Okay, no problem. We just rerun once. We'll be able to see.
Yes, sir. I'll read.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks.
In the beginning, it was all right. It was going on very well.
Yes, sir.
But suddenly, nothing has come out.
Is it okay, sir, now? Shall I continue?
Yes. Now we are able to hear your voice.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
You can
sir.
continue. You can continue.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, so we are also going to focus on how Generation Z traits change the way they learn and discover knowledge. But first of all, let's take a look at the key characteristics that define Generation Z. Who are they? How are they different from the previous generation? See, they are technologically advanced and knew how to use smartphone from an early age. That we could see in our homes, right? A small baby, a baby who cannot even hold a milk bottle properly can hold the smartphone easily. And also to our surprise, he or she knows how to swipe them, right? And Generation Z representatives have never seen the world without the internet. And thus they have the affinity for texting and messaging on mobile apps or on online platforms. Sometimes even over in person, face-to-face communication. Another characteristic of Gen Z.
Madam, sorry to interrupt. Can you make it as a Zoom, that is slideshow full screen?
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Yes, better.
Yes, sir. Another characteristics of the Gen Z population is that they absorb tons of new information every day because they spend several hours a day in social media or searching the internet for information. According to statistics, Generation Z perceives information visually. So even in marketing campaigns that are targeted at Gen Z revolve around storytelling, explainer videos, and other forms of visualization. Being independent, self-confident, and autonomous are also some of the key characteristics of Generation Z, which is certainly new to us, right? They do not rely on their parents as much as previous teen generation, as we did. For everything, we rely on our parents. But this generation, they are not like us. When I say this, almost every one of you reminded about your kids. Probably you may think, what I am saying, is it new? No, not at all. Every one of us experiencing at our home. This generation has been accused of having an attention of 8-second filter. It is shorter than the predecessors. The 8-second filter is helping them to curate their feeds and focus on what matters to them. And although you must work to become a part of it, once you have grabbed their attention, they need to remain loyal. Gen Zers are environmentally aware. They value the eco-friendly and healthy lifestyle much more than our generation. A big positive. Yes. Hello.
You can go ahead, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I heard some voice.
Yeah, somebody, I think they have not.
It's audible, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Proceed.
Gen Zers are environmentally aware. They value the eco-friendly and healthy lifestyle much more than our generation. A big positive and healthy trait. Maybe this generation will actually have a positive impact on the environment. Multitasking is one of the positive traits due to their extraordinary ability to process and absorb lots of information within seconds. These Gen Z kids can easily handle several tasks at once. So, I have mentioned various traits of Generation Z. And let's see how these Generation Z traits relate to learning.
The previous slide has moved very fast.
Actually, multitasking, as I explained that, so
Okay.
I moved.
Okay.
These are the millennials or the modern learners who are vastly different temperamentally, attitudinally, and psychologically than their predecessors, of course, ours. So we have to accept the fact that this generation is completely different from us. So teach differently. They like to experimental learning, experiential learning. They prefer learning by doing rather than being told what to do or reading static books. Students can intuitively use a wide range of technology. They like to tinker with the latest electronic gadgets. They use the internet to learn new material, to research what they don't know, to meet new people and make friends. They are creative on social media. They take the initiative to learn new tools and apps. If they don't know something, they ask the digital world, such as Google, Wikipedia, and so on. They prefer visual learning. Technology has been present all their lives. They are very comfortable with all sorts of digital devices. The list of available technology changes quickly, and this generation adapts to it so fast as the changes arrive. They are used to interactive experiences at home or in school where teachers should use rich visual effects to motivate, engage, and teach these students. They are good team players. We were told that working in teams and being a good team player was an essential quality at work and entry to management levels. But this generation, you don't need to teach. You don't need to teach the importance of being a team player because they know. They like working on teams using collaborative tools. In general, they like learning in a supportive environment with teamwork. Actually, they like to learn by working with peers where the slower learners are supported by faster learners. They learn by building knowledge from each other. To them, there is nothing wrong if they don't understand straight away when you are learning something new. It was not like, when we were in school, it was not like that. But this generation, they have a different perspective. Generation Z likes to share their experiences in groups. They tend to have short attention spans and multitask as well. The media-rich environment they have grown up in appears to have shortened their attention span. Only 8 seconds. If you ask them to work on the same thing for hours, it would probably overwhelm or frustrate them. They will probably enjoy the activities more if they can get several things done simultaneously because multitaskers. They can usually shift attention rapidly from one task to another. They are generally able to multitask better than their parents, better than their teachers, and can split their attention between different activities. It was something new we have to accept. Thus, a teacher should not be surprised by seeing a student listening to music, surfing the internet, and talking to friends on the phone and while doing the homework. So all things together. These diverse activities are all part of Generation Z's daily life. So we have to accept that this is their talent. Edutainment. Yes, you listened correctly. Derived from education and entertainment. Entertaining education or educational entertainment. According to Wikipedia, edutainment typically seeks to instruct or socialize its audience by embedding lessons in some familiar form of entertainment. Television programs, computer and video games, films, music, websites, multimedia software, and so on. Compared to the traditional teaching perspective of the older generation, like us. With Generation Z, there is little importance given to the teacher's authority. This generation students value learning if they consider it interactive with games and fun activities incorporated into their curriculum, like EFL, ESL curriculum. You can see this video. There is no such background noise, only the slide music, so you can watch the videos. Sorry. So you have seen the video, right? And you would understand that what is the challenge of today. Today's challenge in education industry is Gen Z. They refuse to be passive learners. They simply aren't interested in showing up for class, sitting through a lecture and taking notes, and they'll memorize for an exam later on. Instead, they expect to be fully engaged and to be a part of the learning process. The same expectation applies employment. Gen Zers do not work for anyone. They work with someone. The facts are clear. Gen Z aren't afraid to take control of their careers. As a matter of fact, since they have learned through digital technologies, rather than traditional learning, such as classroom learning of the past decades, if not centuries, they have the confidence. They can learn from non-traditional sources and succeed. What this means is that more and more Gen Zers do not see college as a necessary ingredient for success and consider joining the workforce instead of going to college, simply by jump-starting in entering the work world as entrepreneurs, which already shows as more than 1/3 of Gen Z students either currently have their own business or plan of having one in the future. As new technologies take over all the fields, teachers too need to reskill and upskill themselves. A month ago, at a professional development workshop for teachers, as a part of an activity, the participants were asked to choose 2 words from a list of words. Following the instructions, each participant chose a word that was most significant to their career and another word that they did not like to associate themselves with as teacher. Quite surprisingly, a significant number of participants mentioned outdated as the word that they did not like to associate themselves with. Yes, outdated is a scary word for any teacher. No teacher wants to be labeled outdated or obsolete. The moment teachers become outdated, they cease to stay relevant and fail to connect with their students. Teachers who are outdated start feeling that they are unwanted and unfit to be teachers. Does teachers' role change as days, months, years pass? Do teachers need to change their teaching style in order to connect better with their students? Though the role of the teacher does not change much, traditional teachers may find the modern classroom environment strange, and the attitudes, learning styles, and needs of Generation Z. The learners are different. They will have to change their ways of teaching based on the needs and ability of their students. If you need knowledge, keep adding something new to your mind every day. But if you need wisdom, keep deleting a few negative things from your mind every day. I don't know who authored this beautiful quote. It's very apt for the teaching community. Teachers need to update their knowledge and skills. If they fail to up knowledge and up skills, they become obsolete. Does technology make teachers obsolete? According to your report, more than 375 million workers may need to completely change their skills set by the year 2030 because of newer technologies such as digitization, artificial intelligence, and automation. As a result, a number of employees are required to possess new skills such by reskilling and upskilling them. This applies to the teaching community too. Let us assume that a robot or any machine with artificial intelligence is able to perform better than a human teacher in a classroom or outside the classroom. It could be a scary situation that would give shivers to many teachers because they could lose their jobs. What would a teacher do in such a situation? Smart teachers might try to outsmart the robot and try to prove that they are indispensable and much more useful than the machine with artificial intelligence. There is a great possibility, some may call it danger, that artificial intelligence and machine learning may make teachers obsolete, as some of the skills considered essential for decades have been redundant today. Faced with such threats in the days to come, many teachers may feel the need to learn new skills. The terms upskilling, downskilling are latest buzzwords at workplaces, including industries and companies, and soon these terms may become hot buzzwords in academia too. Every day we hear the advent of some new technologies which either positively or negatively impact our professions. Some technologies make people with certain outdated skills obsolete or downskill them, and some technologies create an opportunity for teachers to learn new skills or upskill them. All new technologies demand new skills. For example, those who are assigned to teach English or any foreign language in the language laboratory using technology is required to learn many new skills such as designing lessons using online resources, creating interactive exercises and online tests, and so on. So what new skills do teachers need to learn in the digital age? There are two types of skills: core skills and supplementary skills. For example, for a teacher of English, proficiency in English is the core skill, and proficiency in integrating technology into teaching is a supplementary skill. Every teacher is required to have core and supplementary skills based on the needs of the students they deal with. Here are some of the ideas for teachers to enhance their supplementary skills. Enhance your competency. Competency is computer literacy and proficiency in using technology for academic purposes. Learn to create Microsoft Forms to create surveys, quizzes, and polls. Microsoft Forms can be used to assess your students, collect feedback from parents, and collaborate with other educators. Learn to integrate technology into your teaching. Learn to use online resources effectively by selecting appropriate material for teaching and creating engaging lessons using podcasts, videos, and PowerPoint presentations. Have your presence on social media. Twitter is a powerful tool to connect with professionals in your area of specialization. It helps you update your knowledge, share your ideas, and discuss the same with others. Tweeting helps teachers shape their ideas and contribute to their continuous professional development. Become a part of a professional group and be aware of the trends in your field. Let your mission statement include these two terms: acknowledging and upskilling. Generation Z and the traditional classroom. The didactic teaching method is the traditional method that is teacher-centered. It mainly involves lecturing, and the responsibility for learning depends largely on the knowledge, expertise of the academics. The Socratic method is student-oriented, and students are encouraged to think independently. It lays emphasis on discussion with peers and research in order to develop critical thinking. Now, the facilitative learning. Facilitative learning moves towards self-directed learning, where students are encouraged to become independent learners by the facilitated academic. In a technology-driven world, where students carry personal communication devices and are constantly acquiring new skills of information sharing, the existence of traditional methods of teaching are under threat. And most teachers perceive that the mobile undermines their authority. There is need to bring about a change in the perception. A famous critic, Seifert, suggests harnessing the mobile phones for better access to knowledge and making learning relevant to the current contemporary information savvy society. Let me admit that for more than a decade, even when I was in Muscat, the very beginning statement in my classroom, okay, I began my introductory class in college with the announcement that since I put my phone on silent mode in the class, I expected the same from my students. This was a permanent statement, right? But today, I'm forced to rethink about the usage of phones in the classroom. In referring to use of technology in class, my focus is on smartphones since we are still far from a situation where students possess a personal PC or laptop at home and college, given the very social backgrounds of students and college facilities across colleges, right? However, almost 100%, or I can say 99.9% of the students in the metropolitan colleges possess a smartphone. And the slogan, "Your life is in your pocket." Sums up their day where they are logged on to social networking platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat throughout the day. So, is it really possible that smartphones disappear magically in the classroom? Are the teachers competing with the lure of social media in the classroom? Rather than viewing the phone as a threat, perhaps it is some time to give the devil its due. It is neither possible nor desirable to banish technology from the classroom in the 21st century. We need to instead use it for flexible learning. That is, learning without the boundaries of time and place. Characteristics that are increasingly in demand. One may argue that 24/7 access is detrimental in the long run and blurs the personal and professional spaces. But let us look at its advantages. It allows the teacher to address Gen Z through multiple platforms, to send out initial readings before starting a text, to share audio-visual material related to the course, and to bounce off ideas in the digital space even after class. For example, sharing the YouTube link of Malgudi days while teaching R.K. Narayan Swami and friends to be English first-year students. This visually brings alive in the 1930s imaginary city of Malgudi with its customs, ethos, and the emotional roller coaster ride of the child protagonist. Let us remind ourselves that incorporating the mobile in the classroom is only an extension of the use of technology in college. You know why? Various administrative functions of college are already mediated through technology, such as applying for courses, paying admission fees, filling examination forms, checking results, and looking up timetable and notices on the college website. So, the extension of the use of the mobile phone for academic purposes is one small step for a teacher, one giant leap for traditional pedagogy. Teaching is like an orchestra. There are many different instruments. Want to reach everyone, you need to put a symphony of different kinds of pedagogy together. Learning technologies provide a set of instruments teachers can use to achieve that range of instruction strategies. Rather than resisting and rejecting technology, one needs to embrace when dealing with digital natives of Gen Z, whose ways of processing information and learning is driven by unprecedented access of technology. Luckily, cheap access of 4G technology in India and near 100% possession of smartphones in metropolitan cities, colleges provide equality in the virtual space and give access to resources across distance and time constraints. Further, not only Does it allow the teacher to share digital content easily, but it also democratizes learning within the same class as well as across universities. While emails are an obvious and formal method of interaction, I find that WhatsApp, given its semi-formal and informal platform, works best with students. WhatsApp groups have brought a sea change in the way people communicate in the last few years. For instance, in their personal spheres, most people have family groups, friends groups, school alumni group, college group, and many more groups. You cannot name everything. The platform is the most commonly used form of messaging, alerts, and notices in the college, as well as there are groups for staff members, various committees, and of every class, along with the faculty members who teach them, especially during this pandemic time. While ordinarily the WhatsApp class group is used to share information such as the timetable, college activities, department events, etc. I would like to suggest that we extend the use of WhatsApp to beyond disseminating information, as we are doing due to COVID-19. The same method we can adapt while teaching in our regular classroom teaching. The teachers can use it to share audio-visual links. For example, when we teach T.S. Eliot's reading of the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Critical essays, it is possible to share both document files as well as PDFs and Google Documents to collect data, feedback. In this way, the phone can be used as a dynamic tool to facilitate learning and to engage students beyond the written world, as it allows for the best of classroom and distance learning models to come together. It also allows students to access content from home, communicate with the teachers, and work in collaboration with other students for projects. So we can see that technology and the flipped classroom. The generation that is born in an era where technology is ubiquitous prefers interactive and experimental learning. Flipping the classroom has become an increasingly popular approach to meet their learning needs. And to this end, I would like to propose a modified model to suit our university teaching style. The concept of the flipped classroom was introduced in the year 2007 by two high school chemistry teachers, Jonathan Bergman and Oren Sams, at a Colorado high school. They began recording their lessons and posting them online so that their students could access them. Although it was aimed at helping students who missed classes, it turned into an innovative approach to teaching and learning that has caught on globally. In a flipped classroom model, students watch online audio or video lectures prior to coming to class. And class time is reserved for discussion, right? Active learning and collaborative assignments. So during the classroom teaching, they discuss the things which they have watched previously. This shifts the teacher's role from deliverer of content to learning coach. Flipped classroom encourages active learning and requires students to think about what they are doing rather than learning by rote. By contrast, passive learning is considered as surface learning, whereby students receive information by listening to an instructor. The flipped model is gaining popularity, and the New York Institute of Technology has even introduced an advanced certificate that features flipped classroom concepts for teachers who want to integrate technology into their classrooms. Given the reduced teaching time under the semester system, some faculty members have shifted from Blackboard to digital presentations. where the classroom lecture does not duplicate the content, but acts as a starting point for discussion. This works especially well for subjects such as geography, accounts, and botany, as well as literature. Here, digital content is not seen as a substitute for the lecture, but as a supplement and an extension to create time for debate and discussion in the truncated time frame. So it was not a substitute, it is a supplement. The flipped classroom is essentially part of a broader conceptual framework of teaching, which promotes the use of active learning in the classroom and holds the students responsible for information gathering outside the classroom. In this respect, professors and other educators have been flipping the classroom long before this term gained popularity. The advent of video software and increased internet bandwidth and allow the educators to create high quality online content so that classroom time can be devoted to engaged student learning. While a literature classroom does not have much scope for charts and tables, it can be used to include videos of historical and cultural context of the literary text. Given the digital handicap of most of the colleges, where projectors and wireless connectivity is not available in all the classrooms, we become dependent on the personal device, the smartphone with its 4G connection in everyone's hands. Whether it is e-learning or flipped classroom, teachers need to think about using the mobile for the purposes of learning and research. Today, our intertextual references in class are more often than not from visual or popular culture and indicate two things. Firstly, English studies has taken a turn towards cultural studies. And secondly, digital content needs to be supplemented with the lecture mode to keep the interest of Gen Z alive. With every syllabary revision, the number of canonical British texts keeps decreasing. What we teach to undergraduate as English in colleges and universities effectively take the form of world literature. That includes texts from Greek epics to Indian classical texts to Indian writing in English to Canadian poetry to Latin American novels to African plays, including a significant number of translated texts. The students are increasingly exposed via the syllabus and social media to ever-expanding definitions of literature, its genres and subgenres, such as blog writing, graffiti art, films, graphic novels, slam poetry, and microtales. Genre fluidity is an integral part of human activity. We may engage with it in the classroom or not, but it will exist. And it will be foolish of us not to engage with it. It will make changes in the world on its own terms. So the better idea is for us to engage with in the classroom. To make the classroom, to make the class relevant and interesting and to generate discussion, I find myself increasingly given cross-references from popular forms, be it chick lit novels. I have given here the definition of what is chick lit novels. Movie songs or films to explain historical social context. Even then, I often find myself hitting a roadblock, as the knowledge of history, but in the context of literature, our cinema is lacking among the younger generation. For instance, it is impossible to explain the idea of angry young man and the angst of the 1970s and 1980s without referring to Amitabh Bachchan or Rajinikanth's movies of that era. How does one speak to a generation that lives only in the present as demonstrated by their current social media behavior? Facebook is already for the older generation. Yeah, for us. Generation X and Generation Y, who post albums reminiscing about print photo albums that are lying in some corner of their cupboard. Gen Z is busy on Snapchat and TikTok, posting photos, videos about their everyday college life as an Instagram story. The popularity of story that disappear after 24 hours. Overfeed is a testimony to the appeal of the ephemeral, that is lasting for a very short time. The transient bubble that makes no pretense of making permanent footprints, albeit even digital ones. When Generation X or Generation Y teachers face the Generation Z students, they struggle to search for new examples to explain concepts, and often the students come up with references from a web series. Last month, I was mentally searching for literary cinematic example to discuss transgender in class. And a student immediately came up with a reference to Cuckoo in the Netflix series. The Sacred Games, Cuckoo in the Netflix series, The Sacred Games. It was posted in 2018. While discussing changing gender roles, one of the students suggested that I watched the net series Permanent Roommates in 2014. We have moved far away from the debate on high and low culture among literature worlds. Somewhere between deriding, scorning, and smicking about lowbrow forms of literature and culture, we are now using them as examples in class and doing research on them. For a teacher, the crisis is real. It is a case of Darwinian survival while teaching the post-millennial students. To address the Gen Z, not only do the teachers need to integrate technology in the classroom, but they also need to incorporate examples from popular culture, internet sources to generate discussion. In fact, this makes the classroom scenario a two-way process, since the teacher can introduce the theoretical framework and the tech-savvy glued to internet generation can add relevant inputs about the latest genres and net series. The classroom becomes a vibrant space for active learning as opposed to the passive mode of learning based on the lecture model. While I have screened movies based on course text for years, I find the class WhatsApp groups allows a greater and more sustained engagement with the students over the entire semester, rather than an occasional movie screening. It also provides a good platform to share links about advertisements, web series, and other visual materials that thematically connects with the text in the course. That you have to be, right, underlined. Thematically connects with the text in the course. Further, the students respond positively to it, and often it generates an online discussion where they take the initiative rather than being passive recipients of knowledge. I have shared only some of my experiences here, but the mobile technology has limitless possibilities of improving pedagogy. Let me add that it may be useful to train the teachers in using technology effectively in classroom to bring about the much needed pedagogical changes. Teacher training and technology. One of the biggest problems of the university system is that teachers entering the profession are not given any relevant training in teaching. The B.Ed programs focus on teaching methodologies that are adequate for school level teaching. However, in India, there is no such program that is targeted towards equipping teachers for undergraduate, postgraduate teaching. It is assumed that young scholars who were in college till a few years back know how to manage the discipline from the other side of the table. Not only are college teachers, they never trained to teach, but even in-service programs such as orientation and refresher courses, rarely focus on pedagogy. And teachers are now faced with the additional challenges of using technology. Knowledge of effective teaching materials, teaching practices is better now than it was a century ago, thanks to advancements in disciplines such as sociology, psychology, and neuroscience. Most contemporary research in learning processes emphasizes that the social nature of learning, often called group or cooperative learning, in the classroom has a positive effect. Moreover, technology can also be used to aid in social learning, be it collaborative or cooperative learning. And for this, the academics need to be trained in the use and creation of e-learning materials and to develop ICT skills to innovate teaching for Gen Z. To address the technophiles, the I generation, it is good practice to incorporate an active learning approach. Active learning involves students in doing things by engaging them directly in learning rather than passively receiving information. The online modules do not have to replace face-to-face learning. They can work parallel as initial steps toward incorporating technology in classroom. Let us remind ourselves that the majority of the teaching staff was not born in the digital information revolution. And so they must themselves undergo training to prepare for digital proficiency. These digital immigrants face a challenge when addressing digital natives. And the education system must therefore modify its teaching methods for the oncoming wave of digitally proficient students, their skills, experiences, and needs. The shift in focus is necessary from a teacher-centric traditional method of lecture to a student-centered technology-led learning. Here, the teacher takes a secondary position as a facilitator in a learning process where creativity and critical thinking are encouraged. It also means a change in the attitude of the teacher from a superior, knowledgeable dispenser of knowledge to a guide whose tech savviness is less than that of the students. The teacher has to wade through difficult waters in confronting a generation that does not know how to write in cursive hand but can type blindly. That can be clueless in searching through the physical library but is excellent when it comes to online research. They may not be aware of gender theories but is more open to the idea of gender fluidity. However, the teacher's role, albeit as a facilitator, is necessary. Even in such a scenario, the teacher needs to wean the students away from Wikipedia and citing that in references, right? To Google Scholar and JSTOR. He or she can guide the students towards using the mobile for research, while the students can bring it latest examples from popular culture. There are different approaches to educating the digital native. PowerPoint, Excel, Inspiration, Kidspiration, blogs. There are plenty. This is the scenario we can see in 2020, even in 3rd grade, right? So, in India, the discussion about ICT and smart classrooms is still largely focused on schools. And barely any attention is paid to the college university classroom. Even as global corporate universities are coming up in major cities, the majority of students are enrolled in public universities that lack the infrastructure of smart classrooms. However, let us not forget that students have smartphones in their bags. While school students are prohibited to carry and use in class, can we use the smartphone with internet connectivity in the hands of adults to our advantage in the classroom? And in no way suggesting that we start conducting classes over the phone or merely use it to watch online resources in class, but that we be open to the idea of integrating technology with the traditional model of teaching for constructive purposes. Nowadays, most college classes have a WhatsApp group. We can begin by using these groups for interaction, discussion, and to send across material, text, audio, video as readings. As teachers, we need to stop seeing the phone as a distraction. A disciplinary problem, and instead accept the waves of technological changes and embrace them for our purposes. So here, I'm in no way trying to give conclusive solutions, but as born out of challenges faced in the classroom while teaching the Generation Z, and the possibilities of integrating technology in the classroom is as varied and dynamic as technology itself. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for
ma'am.
your lively presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
The slides and videos you showed gave us a close look at the challenges in teaching English to Gen Z students in India. The sparkle of your viewpoints and your motivating words helped us to fresh up the minds of all the listeners. Thank you so much for sharing your time and experience with us, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
We will go ahead and take some time for questions now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Participants, kindly unmute your mic and raise your questions. Participants, you can unmute your mic and raise your questions.
You can type in the chat box. I can read.
Okay.
It can avoid that echo.
In chat box, there is no questions, ma'am. So that I'm asking this.
No. When they unmute, if everyone unmute, then it may create the echo problem. To avoid that, you can,
Yes, ma'am. Participants, kindly share your questions.
Yes.
I think one question from SLP. Just reading, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm just looking the chat box. Whether any.
So many compliments from your presentation is simply superb.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So many compliments. I think they forgot to ask some questions. I think so.
Maybe self-explanatory session.
Yes.
I can take it as a compliment. This is a self-explanatory session. So,
ma'am, one question. I think it's from Sheetal Gupta.
Yes.
If we want to teach any writer using ICT, which tool is most effective? Using ICT.
It depends. It depends upon the student level and to whom you are teaching.
Okay.
And which grade, which level, and what kind of element you are teaching. Based on that, we have to decide. If you are teaching, for a language
Okay.
class, is entirely different from literature class. If you are teaching a language, there are 4 skills: listening, speaking, writing, and reading. Right? If you are teaching
Okay.
listening or speaking, and there are plenty of podcasts available even in online. So for listening, quite some time we were used to listen only to the teacher's accent, but we have plenty of opportunities available now. We can download some podcast for various accent. We can use that as a tool
Okay.
when we teach
Mm.
listening to any level of students, either from beginners to intermediate students. So in a way, it is
Okay.
based on the topic and the
The
listeners.
students.
We have to use the device.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. One more question.
Yes.
What about your opinion on rural generation, the students of rural India with
Yes.
respect to
I
flipped
expected this
classroom?
question. Actually, I was
This
expecting this
question,
question
okay.
because you know that when I started saying about mobile phone and country like India, people usually ask this
Oh,
question, right? Because many of the villages and many of the people, even they struggle for food. How can you expect them to use mobile phone, right? But I cannot compare mobile phone with food, because I can compare this with clothing. Even people, they don't have
Oh,
a proper shelter and proper food, but everybody has clothing, right? Everybody. So as to mobile now, the technology, especially during this pandemic time, many of us understood, many of us faced the problems while using technology and learned many because of this pandemic. So even that rural
okay.
villages and colleges, schools, now they started, the government is, you know, seeing various other options to educate them, because in cities and metropolitan cities and other private schools, they started teaching through online Google platform, right? So
Yes.
in
Yeah.
colleges, government colleges, government schools, now they are searching for another option, how to teach using technology, right? So
Technology. Okay.
right, because of this pandemic, the government
Oh,
is in an action to use technology even to rural students.
okay. Okay, ma'am. One more question.
Yes.
For a mixed classroom,
Mm.
will the flipped classroom technique work?
Of course it works. Actually, flipped classroom, uh, when the students flipped classroom, you have to understand the concept first. Flipped classroom is not anyway, it's supplement, it's not a substitute,
Okay.
right? So when
Okay.
when they come to class, the students, they would have watched the lecture,
Okay.
right? So they would have understood what they are going to learn in today's classroom. Some might have understood fully, some might have understood partially. So the classroom,
Okay.
in that classroom, they can discuss with the peers, also
Okay.
with teachers, that get clarified, and the class is really live, interactive.
Oh,
So it works for
okay.
any level.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Next question.
Yeah.
When we show any YouTube videos, etc., in the classroom, copyright issues crop up. Do we have any suggestions?
No, but this is, we cannot, online videos, when we show the online videos, before we show something to the students, we have to go through the policies. It is
Okay.
not just like that, surfing in the classroom, showing videos. It's really difficult even for teachers.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Because even
Thank
I
you. Thank
told
you.
that podcast, right? There are certain websites we can register ourselves to download, the podcast with copyrights. They allow us to download if we register ourselves. There is no pay and all.
Okay.
So we can register and we can download with the copyrights and we can show the proper things to them.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, last question.
Yes.
Can you explain the role of the augmented reality in the online platform?
No, online platform. Maybe if I would have talked about this topic few months back, the
Okay.
question would be relevant. Now, almost every one of us, whether we know thoroughly, we know fully, but we know partially, right? How to
Okay.
teach
Yes.
online, how to learn through online, how to access videos, images or some learning material through online, how to enroll ourselves to online courses, how to get certificates through online courses. So we learned many things. I won't say we thoroughly it, but partially we learned. So in this situation, it is only, as I said, self-learning, experimenting. That is the only way.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you for your effective answers.
Thank
I
you, ma'am.
think,
Thank you very much. I
is
think
there anything else you want to cover before I wrap up, ma'am? Is anything else you want to share?
I just want to say thank you for the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity and the good audience and good questions
Oh,
too. I'm so
thank you.
happy and really
Okay.
thank you very much, Miss Vinolia, for giving me this wonderful opportunity as well as to the
Thank you.
college management. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Saying thank you is more than good manners, and it is a good spirituality. It is a great honor and privilege for me to propose the vote of thanks. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's session a resounding success. First and foremost, I thank our guest, Dr. M. Nagalakshmi, Associate Professor, Department of English, Vistas, Chennai, who despite her busy schedule has found time to grace this occasion. My grateful thanks to our chairman, vice chairman, director academic for their kindness and continued support. And also, I express my heartfelt thanks to our director admin, Dr. M. Prabharan, for his valuable contribution. And also, I thank our principal and vice principal, ma'am, for their interest and unstinted support for this webinar. And also, I thank our well-wishers and my department members for their vision and commitment who have worked hard to ensure that this occasion becomes a memorable success. Last but not least, my heartfelt thanks to our determined participants for their active participation. With these warm words, we move to the end of today's webinar session. Thank you all. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
morning,
ma'am.
madam.
Thank you
Thank you.
so
Thank you for
much, ma'am.
nice session, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, madam.
Participants, kindly fill the feedback form.
Madam,
Yes.
in which is it comes under WhatsApp group,
No,
ma'am?
no, sir.
How can we fill
Now
the
it is in
feedback?
now it is in our chat box. We shared in chat box,
Only
sir.
chat box.
Just
Chat
yeah,
box.
only
How
in
can we
chat
fill
box.
that, madam? Chat
So, yeah, sir.
only in chat box.
We gave that online chat box. So you just to see that and click that form. You have to fill the details within 30 minutes.
Where it is, madam? I'm not found. I'm not able to found,
Okay,
madam.
1 second. I will. Yeah. Wait, sir.
Hello, madam.
Hello? Sir, 1 second.
Uh,
Now it
Have
is
you
visible.
posted? You
Yeah,
just posted?
I send it again.
would you
Okay.
please post in, madam? Would you please
Yes,
post
there were
in
so many
WhatsApp
people
group?
who posted.
No, sir.
Only chat box.
Now itself you can enter. Yeah, only in chat box.
It takes 1.5
Yeah, it is
minutes to
visible
fill
in
up.
chat box, sir.
Where
The
I'm
link will
not
be
able
open for
to
30
find.
minutes. Sir,
Okay.
now you just see that chat box, sir. It's there.
Where it is, I am not
Kindly fill.
chat box. Okay, madam.
Ah,
Dr. Naresh Kumar, A. Parmar, like this. These are come.
yeah,
Is it the chat box,
yeah.
madam?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sending.
Yeah.
Okay, madam. Feedback link. It is using microphone in the background. New Princess Sri Bhavani Arts and Science College, madam. It came.
Hello, ma'am.
Uh,
Participants, kindly fill the feedback form. It will open for only 30 minutes. Hello, ma'am.
okay, madam. I send. Hello.
Okay, sir.
I send.
Hello. Hello.
Madam.
Okay, sir. Okay,
I
sir.
send my feedback, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right, madam. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
You will receive a certificate through your mail. Okay.
Okay,
Within
madam.
48
Okay.
hours, you will get. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
very much, and
Thank,
have a nice day, madam. Thank you for
thank you,
providing
sir.
nice session.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yeah.
Yes.
Can I
Thank you so
leave?
much, ma'am.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
You can leave, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
okay.
It was
Thank you.
wonderful. It was
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you so much,
Okay.
ma'am.
I
Okay,
think
ma'am.
you're a bit relaxed now.
Oh,
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. Priyanka? Priyanka?
Ma'am, close பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
Yeah, only 16 participants are here, pa. So just wait for 5 minutes.
Responses எல்லாம் பாருங்க. Feedback link எல்லாம் fill பண்ணிட்டாங்க.
They need. Okay. Then we can leave.
Ma'am.
Okay. Okay, pa.